Hello everyone, how are you? Okay, so what I want to talk about tonight is it's arranging your practice in such a way so that you're not going to be accused of faking. I mean, there's a lot of this sort of fake guitar stuff going on at the moment, and then a lot of people are like calling people out for, oh, that's fake guitar, that is, and then getting loads of views on it, and then somebody else will do a video on it, oh, that's fake guitar, that is. If you actually like, I mean, this is one of my brother's phrase, if you actually fix the leaky bath in the first place, then you're not going to have a flood, are you? You know, so it's a matter of just like just finding some things which make you as a player. Now, what that also means is, like, perhaps rather than, yes, you may have your favourite player, singular, but if you're drawing on ideas from like more than one person, then you're gonna bring those things together. You're gonna say, well, what happens if I merge this with that? What happens if you do something slightly differently? You may get some flack for it, you know, in the comments or whatever to begin with. But once you actually like found the thing which is like the core you, then you should be away. And some of this as well, I mean, like, it goes back to that, you know, like, some people feel when they hear themselves like recorded, you know, on a tape recorder or on the video, they feel uncomfortable like with their own voice. Now that doesn't mean like, you know, oh, we're all narcissists now, you know, meaning, oh yeah, I love the sound of my own voice. It doesn't mean that at all. It means when you speak, you'll there'll be certain things about your speech patterns which define you as a person. And again, some of those will be derivative, you know, like say like from family or friends or you know, your other half, you know, etc., etc. But it really means, you know, like, you know, the more you're playing, the more you're finding that the sound of your performance is actually mirroring and even amplifying you as a person. That's the core secret, really. So we need to get started, right? So today I'm using an 8 string. Now, why am I using an 8 string? Because I mean, already I can see in the comments going, oh, it's too many strings, that it's far too confusing. Well, the reason for that is that sometimes if you throw yourself a curveball, something which is a bit, you know, a bit out of the ordinary, then you're going to have to start thinking differently. You're going to look at the instrument differently, which means when you go back to like playing like regular 6 strings, you're going to have like a fresh perspective on the instrument. So yeah, so I'm playing this 8 string. So I'll put it on neck pickup. I'm clean, my amp set clean. Because I've not been listening to, you know, like people like Tosin, the Bassy and whatever, and you actually listen to what he does, then sometimes he does use a lot of clean stuff, but with just a bit of reverb. Yeah. So my tunings, I'll go from like so all the way down to there with just standard tuning, and then this is B, and this is F sharp. Yeah. But we're almost bordering on like sort of bass player territory, which is, has some of its advantages as well, which means you can start linking ideas from sort of bass players, you know, like you know Jaco Pastorius and Jeff Berlin and, you know, people like that. So something you might want to think about. I mean, like, what sort of pick do you use as well? Now, I use these little stubby picks. Yeah. There's various reasons why I actually, you know, went to these. One, because, I mean, yeah, one of them is the fact that, like, it means that, like, if you're holding the pick sort of, you know, like this, then there's very little chance of you actually accidentally hitting a string with the plectrum, or the pick, if you like. So if you actually, like, say you play a note, so I mean, just let's say E from here. Now there's many ways you can play that E. You can, like, you know, towards the bridge, it sounds a bit harsher. Towards the neck it sounds a bit more mellow. Yeah, and I can bring in palm muting. Yeah, as much as I like, and I can go as percussive as I like. Yeah. And I can even play with the time as well. You know, I start playing like longer notes. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so that's simple things like that. Say next we sort of like take like that sort of like an A, that's an A, like say like an A minor shape. A minor. You know, the standard cowboy chord, A minor. Play it up here. Now you know if you're borrowing that, you can do all sorts of things like that. Right. Okay, great. So we can do that. But working on what we were talking about, like yeah. So I can vary the speed, I can vary the texture of what I'm doing. Now, this is where like the sort of economy picking starts coming into it. Because the faster we're going, the closer we get into like a sweep pick, but it's more about like an economy pick. It's more like it's a Frank Gambale thing. It's also an Ingve thing, but it's mainly Frank Gambale. Now it's also like a little warm-up lick. I mean, yeah. You can just move that part. So you can practice doing that. And we can vary that. Yeah. You know, I was thinking of that Sanson's, you know, the aquarium. Or is that music for the horror film Halloween, something like that as well. You can start getting into that sort of thing if you really want to do that. And then of course there's other. Yeah, now we start getting into things like that. Yeah. So if we're doing stuff like that, so this There's one more example I want to show you for this vid, and it's, so if we play that little sort of neoclassical lick like that, so we could do that. That's our starting note. So to find the arpeggio, yeah, and that's just A, isn't it? Yeah, it has to be, because that's E. So, yeah, and then from here, and then the logic of it. Now we could really go off the end of the fretboard, but if we use this this pattern yeah. And so on and so on. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. But one of the good things about like the extended range guitar, you know, rather than just being like a complete imbecile going with loads of like distortion, you can actually use it to unlock more patterns, and you can do really amazing things with it. You know, like players like Tosin, I think they've only just scratched the surface of actually what we can do. So if you like this video, then please comment below with your thoughts. Please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and then I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.